Let's talk about establishing then, and establishing the business, because now we're at this step, because we've got a lot to go through here.
Yeah.
So there's two of you, you've hit on this Mac thing, you're going out and winning some business. Now, how did you establish yourself as a business, and how quickly did that happen?
Well, I suppose we always thought on day one we were established as a business, because I'm not really sure, when you actually get a certificate through to say you're established. We just thought we're running now, and therefore, if work's coming in and we can turn something out, then in theory we're kind of established. But I suppose in terms of the definition, we probably became more established and possibly to a wider audience when we got a bit disillusioned after about 5 years of just doing Yorkshire-based. Company brochures really, and for the power companies and an engineering company in Huddersfield, and it was all it was work, and we could definitely continue like that, but I think just creatively it just wasn't stimulating, so we decided to...
When was this? What year was this?
I would say that was probably maybe about 92.
Right.
That we really got, we just thought there's got to be more than just working for Yorkshire Electricity.
But you've got how many staff at this point? How many people would you...
There's maybe about, 8.
Right.
8 of us by then.
But you two because that's a personal objective then, isn't it? Because that's the first step for you guys in terms of, you've got an agency, it's working, it's bringing in money, you've got clients, but as a personal thing, you want to work on something a bit more creative,
Totally, yeah. We just aspired to work on, I guess, sexier work really, something that would be a bit more stimulating, and we knew with the portfolio that we had that was completely dry and wouldn't, we did contemplate going to London, as, many people do, and trying to get some kind of, because the North really wasn't, well, particularly in Huddersfield and Yorkshire, it was like, there's a lot of the companies were run by these old-fashioned MDs, and it's like, nah, lad, I don't need design, and it was just like really difficult to try and persuade them to do anything other than what they've been doing for possibly many years. So we had this idea of, but we couldn't afford to do this kind of brochure where we could experiment. So we contacted a paper company. I mean, we've all done it, I guess, now. And we contacted a printer and a repro house, and we just said, look, we'll split this 4 ways. Can we each kind of contribute what we're all good at? And everyone was game on, and that created something that we could then go further afield and actually show people what we're capable of doing.
So this was noise, wasn't it? This was the first.
Yeah, the first. Actually, yeah, we did a couple of calendars in the early days. Then we did the first publication was called Bob. That was the first one we did. Yeah. That was in an effort to get us from this rut that we were experiencing in the kind of Huddersfield and surrounding area, really.
And so, just tell us about noise, because is that the breakthrough for you guys in terms of? It defined a style for you, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's been the best and the worst thing in a way. But the early ones, Bob particularly, was definitely a breakthrough. Right. I mean, it allowed us, as I said, to create something that our portfolio would never have been able to show. And so then Simon set off on this journey to kind of go down south and see whether he could pick up some business. And by this time, around about 92, 93. I think I'm not sure exactly, but there might have been a kind of a serious recession in about 92, and everyone was kind of back on recovery, and the yuppies of the 80s were starting to disappear. And I think when Simon got down to London with his very kind of northern Leeds attitude, quite abrupt and quite kind of straightforward, I mean, that's the charm of him. I think they found it really refreshing, given the fact that the industry or the whole economy had lived through this, let's do lunch, blah, blah, blah. Simon's like, look, you know what, I've got to get back on the M1, and if we do lunch, you're going to pay for it, so why don't I just get back? And so they were like, oh, right, okay. That's kind of interesting. I've not heard that before. And I think that kind of, that attitude went down really well, and given the fact that with this publication, we felt seemed to be quite refreshing from a London perspective, and and that definitely enabled us to kind of open a few doors back then.
So did you target people at that point? Were you confident enough to go and target them?
Yeah, we did. With this kind of, not with our kind of Yorkshire portfolio, but with this first production, we knocked on, the game world was obviously starting to evolve and come through. There was like Sega and MTV and Sony, and record labels galore. EMI was a client for a while, and we just purposely targeted that particular kind of crowd,
Sure.
With the intention of getting something that would be a bit more stimulating.
And did it work?
Yes, it did, but our first, ironically, our biggest client became Wix Building, so we went all that way. and our biggest client became Wix in Harrow, which was a real kind of embarrassing moment, but I suppose it was the balance between, okay, Wix are going to pay the bills and the petrol, but we'll kind of do all this kind of like more funky work, but there was never really any cash with it.